Hello, everybody. 6 o'clock on Wednesday night. I'm working on our final response to the appeal that we've got going on. We had to file two documents, and I'm preparing our second one. This is one of the documents that one of the other lawyers filed. It's about 50 pages long that I got to finish reading. So uh, it's a joke going on between some of the lawyers dealing with this or not. This stuff is so fluid that it kind of just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. We've coined it Jello now. We call it Jello. So before I talk about what I wanted to talk about, which there's a variety of topics, and we've been on a airplane all day coming back from California, so I might get a little animated for you guys today. Uh, I just got an email from one of my clients, this young man, and it's not happening a lot, but some of these schools that must have teachers unions, kind of like Chicago, that think they run the place. If you read Judge Grishow's order, I mean, you guys, you can't make up this nonsense with these people. You can't make it up. And I'm not going to do it. I'm just telling you that right now. I'm not. But if I was the attorney general of this state, the nonsense that I'm like reading on my phone right now, every person in a position that did this to a child would not want me coming. I promise you they wouldn't. This abuse that's going on with children defies comprehension. And you know what? We put a couple of these people in the jailhouse cell for a little while. Maybe they'll quit this nonsense, right? But anyway, child email. So we have a temporary restraining order that Judge Grishow wrote that says a child cannot be kept out of the building of the school district if they don't want to wear a mask. It's pretty straightforward. And you've got these rocket scientists out here, these educated morons, who are saying, oh, but that's when you come into the building after school for extracurricular activities, well, that doesn't count. Those people are teaching your children, right? So this child is telling me that he's got, and I'm not going to give any details because I might, if they don't solve it, you watch me solve it. Telling these children, oh, you can't come into the building to watch a basketball game. The order says admittance to the building. And anybody that was watching knew that. So I look forward to, if one of these people keeps this nonsense up, I will have them standing front and center in front of the court in Sangamon County on a rule to show cause, and I'll be asking for the most, I may not get it, but I'm going to ask for the most possible punitive response that the court will give to teach these bullies a lesson. They have anti-bullying policies, but the educators and the administration are bullying these children. Oh, you can't come in the building to watch a sporting event because the mask mandate or TRO doesn't cover that. Of course it covers that. It's admittance to the building. It didn't say admittance to the building to sit in math class. Admittance into the building. It is a public building. You can't keep the kid out. So I just responded to that young man and I told him, I'll get it taken care of for you. Unbelievable. But I've heard that from several parents. Oh, Tom, the administration saying that. I had one of them say, well, the bell just rang and school's out. It's 3:02. So put your mask back on. I'm like, the problem with a tyrant like J.B. Pritzker is it breeds tyrants of these other, and I'm not going to be nice tonight. I'm sorry, because I'm not saying anybody, I say the governor's name. He's a governor of the state. I'll hammer on him like he hammers on me. But other people, I'm not going to say their names. But I'll certainly hammer on them in principle. But these, what is wrong with people? They have lost their damn minds. Okay? The restraining order covers that child walking in that building for any reason whatsoever. Any reason. And if you don't think it doesn't, try me. Okay, let's move on. Governor Pritzker's press conference today. Press conference. I've watched two of these things in the last 2 days for you guys, not for me, because I haven't watched anything he said in the last 2 years. But I just watched another 7 minutes of pain for you, my friends. And you want to talk about just more gaslighting and narcissistic nonsense. Unbelievable. But you know what I noticed? Because I watch quote when people might not think I'm listening sometimes. If you knew me and you're on me personally, I'm kind of aloof and but I'm watching every move, man. And I'm watching this guy. And you know what I learned? Is he's just reading shit that somebody else wrote. He can't even make up his own words. These aren't his words. Watch him the next time he gives a press conference. He's looking down every 10 seconds. And you know what that means? Is that somebody else wrote that for him. Somebody else wrote that for him. That's pitiful. If we're going to have somebody that's in an elected office, do you think they ought to be smart enough and savvy enough to stand in front of the people and give it to you straight? You know what it means when they're reading a press card or somebody wrote? They're giving you bullshit. Because if you're not, you don't need anything to read off of. I remember when I was at the last event with Dr. McCullough. You guys know who he is. World-renowned doctor. He walked up to me and said, he says, you know what, Tom? He says, you don't use any cards or you don't make any planning. And I said, no, why would I do that? If I go do that, that means I'm blowing smoke up people's rear ends too. That's not how you're going to get it straight. But the governor was reading from his cards. So guys, I want you to pay attention next time. If you got a stomach listening, he's just reading what somebody else is writing and shoveling. They're writing that stuff. It's gaslighting. I'd like to meet the person writing that stuff, but I wouldn't want to spend much time around them because I saw what that's all about. So again, I thought that was funny. So anyway, what was the whole purpose of this 7 minutes and 45 seconds of pain? What was the purpose? You think it was to inform the people? Think it was inform the people? Come on, you guys, you know better than that. He's trying to change the narrative. Trying to change the narrative because the narrative of the last 4 or 5 days hadn't been very good for old JB. Hadn't been very good for him. Trying to change the narrative. And you know what? You know who helps him? The media. Mainstream media of Illinois, except for maybe 1 or 2, are all up in the old JB Pritzker. Ryan, show them the top stories of the day about Pritzker. Put them up on the screen. Look at this, you guys. Look at that. Governor Pritzker announces planned end for Illinois mask mandate. Right? Read that again. Governor Pritzker announces planned end for Illinois mask mandate. Right? Watch Pritzker's press release on Illinois mask mandate Wednesday. Pritzker says indoor mask mandate to be lifted by end of February. Read it. It's ABC5, it looks like, WGN-TV. They're all a bunch of liberal hacks that are just merely trying to perpetuate his version of the narrative to get him out of the hot water. He's in scalding water with the people of this state. It's pitiful, and they don't even hide it from you guys. Okay? They see that? They don't hide it from you. The election's coming. How many weeks ago I told you guys that election's coming? The election's coming, and the people are on fire in this state right now. We're pushing 300 school districts across this state. 300, that's over 40%. So the 300 includes some private schools too. So 35 to 40% of the public schools, fully mask optional. Many of them no vaccination or testing for teachers. That's a problem for OJB. Big problem. How's he going to put that genie back in the bottle, right? Do you think he's going to get a reversal of this TRO? And all of a sudden, these school districts are all going to go back to putting masks on these kids? Oh, baby. Wouldn't that be something? You know, because again, I think you people about had enough, ain't you? You people. I can say that when I'm talking to all of you, and it's a general whole. I guess that's politically correct. Heck, I don't know. But you guys have had enough. And so that's what JB's trying to fix. Because you think if JB doesn't get elected in November that he's ever got a chance of being going out on the big boy stage in the federal system? He's dead in the water politically if he doesn't win this election in November. So these news stories that you're looking at here, we're trying to help him. Now, I watched the 7 minutes and 45 seconds, and I've got 24 things that he said, and I couldn't, 24 points that he made, and I was desperately looking for him to make a point and go, yeah, okay, I get that one. I can buy at least 1 or 2, maybe 3, Governor, out of your 24 points. I wasn't on board with one of them because they were all gaslighting, all lies, all spin, you know. And keep in mind again, this is not his gaslighting, his lies, his spin. He has to own it because he's preaching it. They're not his words. So let me go with my first one. He wanted to provide, and I'm going to try to give you my JB impressions. I'll do a horrible job of it. I want to provide an important update on progress of keeping people safe and businesses open. Over and over and over, the progress of keeping people safe and businesses open.
To it.
Don't you like how that's the constant message? Hold on a second. Hey, Ryan, you can hear that background noise. So there you go. We got rid of that. So keeping people safe and businesses open. He so desperately is trying to pound that message back into people that he's just keeping you safe. Keeping you safe. He's got to start with that. He's got to end with that. And you got to keep going through the whole time, right? So not about keeping people safe. I'm going to put that. Lie number one. Here's number two. Over the past 5 months have been the most frustrating. The past 5 months have been the most frustrating, us dealing with this pandemic, right? Governor, the only reason the last 5 months have been frustrating is because you, as a tyrant, have been manipulating, coercing, intimidating, and threatening the citizens of this state to try to force them to wear a mask, or more importantly, to stick a needle in their arm or be tested. But you don't have to do either one of those. If you don't, just go home and starve. Don't apply for any unemployment because I've already talked to them and they're not going to give you any benefits. Don't go for any welfare because I've already talked to them. They're not going to give you any benefits. I'm going to starve you out if you don't do what I say. It's just a vaccine. Not even a vaccine. It's gene therapy. That's what Dr. McCullough tells me, and he's an expert, so I can say that. And you then just test. Just test. You saw what Judge Grishow thought about that. Evil. So the evil of the last 5 months, Governor Pritzker, is what's been stressful for the people of this state, not the coronavirus. Lie number two. Then he says, we as the people of Illinois are willing to look out for one another. We should be willing to look out for one another. No kidding, JB. But you're using it as a matter to try to shame people because your idea of people looking out for one another is listening to what you say they should be doing. Get the shot. Get the vaccine. Get the tests. Get the booster. Oh, God forsake, get the booster. I'll get to that later. Wear your masks. If you do that, then you are a willing citizen to do what you need to do. And if you don't do that stuff, you're the enemy. That's what he told you last year, right? So he's trying to shame you in to following what he wants you to do. Well, that's not necessarily what he said was a lie. It's at least, let's call that narcissistic, number one. I'm going to give these other ones lie number one, lie number two. He's now not calling us the fringe minority anymore. We've upgraded from the fringe minority to the loud minority, right? He can't call us fringe anymore because it's been deafening over the last 5 days, right? So we're the loud minority now, right? The loud minority. And I started laughing when he said that because, again, I'm going to call that narcissistic number two. 300 school districts in 3 or 4 days. 300. Is that a minority? Oh my God. He just stands there looking down at his notes. Hell, let me look down here. Hold on a second. Okay. Hold on. Let me look again. I forgot. Looking at his notes, somebody told him to say, hey, it's the loud minority now, Governor. Go out there and parrot that, And I just started laughing. I'm like, 300 school districts. Kids are walking out. They had enough. Finally. There's a reason we're one of 10 states left. We can't put it all on the tyrant, but most of it. It's because people haven't been willing to push back enough. Guys, got 300 school districts. 300 school districts in this state. made their own decision without a court order, decided to go fully mask optional, no vaccination and testing for many of them, because they had a little courage, had a little tailwind behind them, right? Had a judge that said this is all nonsense. I'll post it later. I don't have it printed out today, but I just got an email from a parent that's not even in this case, just somebody that talks to me. And I got a couple of them actually, but this one I remembered about their school board members wanted to ask Tom a question indirectly, right? And again, they're not in the case, so that's fine. I don't have a problem answering it. They're like, regardless of this TRO, we'll just stay mask optional. And at the end of the day, if ISB wants to send us a non-compliance letter, we'll just fight back with them. And before you know it, the school year's over and we just go into the summer. Do you think there's anything wrong with that? And I started laughing. I said, no, there's nothing wrong with that. I hope all 300 of you do that. Right? Hope all 300 of you do that. Just say, yeah, I don't care about the TRO either way. Because again, you guys have to remember this. This is one of the most important things. The temporary restraining order did not give any of these school districts any legal basis to go to a fully mask optional, fully non-vaccination or testing program. It didn't give them any of that, right? It didn't give them any of that. What did it give them? I'm telling you it over and over again. What did it give them? A little bit of courage to stand up and say, oh, maybe there's some doubt about what the governor's been doing and what his agency are. Maybe there's a seed of doubt, right? Guys, that seed of doubt's been there the whole time if you were just listening, but you weren't listening. Maybe now you're listening. So again, back off the court order. That's fine. I still think we're going to win, but who cares? It doesn't matter. I don't want the courts, ultimately in the long run, I'm telling you why I'm saying this. I don't want the courts to be the one that motivates the people of this state to do what's right. You know who I want to be the ones that motivate people of this state to do what's right? The people, right? The people got the power, always had the power. So keep your school districts mask optional. Keep your school districts no vaccination or testing. Tell JB and his administrative agencies, come on, see me if you want to, because we ain't playing no more. You do that, school districts, it's all over but the crying. All over but the crying. ISB, I don't even know if ISB will send you a letter anymore. You know, I was thinking about that. If school districts say, oh, sorry, mask optional, don't care about this court case, is ISB even going to dare try to do it, right? Let's say we got 100 of them out of the 300 to say, I don't think so. ISB will fall apart. They won't know what to do. That's all you guys got to do. Do what that guy just asked me. And I said, yeah, you go back and tell him. I said, just stay mask optional. They can't do anything because they know that my 3 school districts that I represent in the lawsuit, they're never putting a mask back on those kids. They're never going to do it. And nothing happened to them. So the loud minority we are now. I think we're loud, and I don't think we're the minority. So that's, again, narcissistic number 2. What else we got now? Okay. Number 5. He's talking about last August when the kids were going to school. He said back then when no, it wasn't Omicron. It was the Delta. Yeah, the Delta variant. Yeah, what are we on now? Delta variant and Omicron. Don't we have like the stealth Omicron now? It's so damn stealthy you don't even know you got it. The stealth, but this was Delta back in August, I think. And he says, what do you say? Most Illinoisans, I think he might have even said, did the right thing. He used that a lot. And put their mask back on in response. Guys, I don't think the governor, except on rare occasions, ever leaves the Thompson Center in the middle of Chicago because he has absolutely no idea what's going on in the state. Now, does it matter? Maybe he's got enough of a following in Chicago that it doesn't matter what the rest of the state's doing. It's possible. I don't know. I don't think so, but it's possible. But that guy has not left the Thompson Center because last August when his, Delta required everybody to put masks back on. Guys, I've been to the north of the south of this state, and I never wear a mask anywhere except a couple of places that I had to go in Chicago, and nobody else around me had any on either, anywhere. And so to stand there, again, I'm going to call that narcissistic number 3. Most Illinoisans didn't put their mask back on. And that's me being objective. Now you would find pockets. You get up into Chicago, you probably had more people with masks on than not. No doubt about that. You get down here in the Metro East and you get even in the central Illinois, even in Springfield, our state capital. 1 out of 10 might have had a mask on. Maybe 1 out of 10. That's not most people, Governor. So there you go. Narcissistic number 3. Here we go. He did this like 5 times throughout it. Masks work. Vaccines work. These are the tools that we've employed. I guess he's talking about the unconstitutional tools that Judge Griswold's talking about. Because what tools is he talking about? You know what? The tools are not masks and vaccine. The tools that he's using, threats, intimidation, coercion, manipulation, gaslighting. Those are the tools that he's using to try to force people to believe that they have to follow his authoritarian dictates that are the evil that the law was intended to prevent. Those weren't my words. So vaccines work. Masks work. You know what, guys? Maybe they do. It doesn't matter. Because, see, that's the narrative that Horse Farm wants you to think. Masks work. Vaccines work. I'm great. Make me governor forever, and then maybe I'll go be president because I know how to lead. That's what he wants you to think. And you know what? It's not about whether they work or not. It's about who puts those measures in place. Who? I wrote my response today on the first one that I filed this morning. And that's what it was all about. Who gets to decide that masks work, that vaccines work? Not one man sitting in his toiletless tyrant mansion in Chicago. He doesn't get to make those decisions. That's what it's all about. And the fact that he doesn't know that makes him the most dangerous man in the state of Illinois. Dangerous because he doesn't respect the rule of law. And that's what the judge told him. And he's pissy about it like a little baby. Here we go. What am I going to call that one? That's narcissistic number 4. Let's go to the next one. His approach has saved lives and protected the economy. We'd call that narcissistic number 5. Protected the economy. I'd like to have my 1,000 business owners that he damn near destroyed in 2021 when the small business owner was the super spreaders of the coronavirus, but now it's the school districts, it seems. That virus is a clever little thing. I don't know what they think about him protecting the economy. He protected the pot shops, that's for certain. He protected Walmart and Home Depot, and his hotels probably didn't suffer much because they were essential. But protected the economy? The guy lost his damn mind. I don't have one client that would agree with him, and I got 1,000 myself. Or did, at least at that point in time. And again, his approach saved lives. Oh, there you go. Everything he files in court's riddled with that. You know what? At what expense to the foundational fabric of this nation and state could you even make that comment? I ran your state like a tyrant, completely abandoning the rule of law to try to save lives. Right? Try to save lives. There is a case from the United States Supreme Court back during the Korean War. It's a steel mill case, as it's called. If you haven't read it, you should read it. It's the steel mill cases. And that was a case back during the Korean War where the president, who was a Democrat, with a Supreme Court that leaned Democrat, he used his executive power to take over the steel mills because we were in a fight with the Korean War. And steel mills went on strike. And he's going, if we don't take the steel mills over and start producing planes and stuff, we're all going to die. And so he issued an executive order and took over these people's steel mills. And it went all the way to the United States Supreme Court. And you ought to read that opinion where they shoved it right up the president's rear end for the same reasons that I'm talking to you about today. And what they told him is that just because you as an executive might be able to do things quicker and faster and more expedient that may be necessary for our states or nations, that you don't have that authority. And the evil, they say, of the executive assuming that power is a greater risk than the risks he was talking about. And they said, yes, we may lose lives of the American people while the legislature tries to sort things out, but that system of government must be preserved at all times. That's what the justices of the United States Supreme Court said in 1952, and it's as true today as it was then. It's what Judge Griswold told him, and the governor doesn't understand or he doesn't care. Either one makes him the most dangerous man in Illinois. That's what we're going to start calling Governor Pritzker now, you guys, because of the evil that Judge Griswold says that he's been throwing about. Her words, the most dangerous man in Illinois, because his approach had saved lives. And I guess saving lives in his mind means we can completely destroy and abandon the fabric of how this country and this state was intended to operate. Sorry, if it means that I have to give my life in order to preserve the way of life that we have established over self-governance so your children and their children can enjoy the privileges that we have established, I'll give mine in a heartbeat. I wonder if Otubby will do it. I doubt it. He's not going to give anything to anybody. Okay? My life is not worth destroying the fabric of how we govern ourselves. None of our lives individually are. Okay? It's not. He doesn't understand that, which makes him the most dangerous man in Illinois. What's this one say? I don't write very well. Oh, here we go. Did you guys see the post today that my daughter, Maddie, she sent me a text message? I've got them here. I'm going to share them with you. So the governor says Omicron has dropped due to the precautions. You know, he kept you all safe. He saved lives because of all of that. Omicron has dropped, right? He said that. I'm going to call that narcissistic number 6. And let me tell you what my daughter, she's a 19-year-old child. She's in college in Missouri. I've never taught my children how to think, at least trying to use my beliefs on them. When I say I got to clarify that, I've always tried to teach them how to use their own minds to think, but not what to think, right? Because they're probably smarter than their father. So here's what my daughter, Maddie, had to say about Omicron dropped. Let me get it again. One second. I was going to tell you what I thought, but actually my child said it much better than I. So she starts off. Here's my daughter. She texted me this afternoon. You ready? So what I see, Dad, is that JB got scared because everyone is rebelling against him, even in starting in Chicago, and now he finally decides to lift one of his mandates. That's what Maddie said. And pretty much, she says, here's where she deals with Omicron drop. She says, he said the rate of people getting COVID has gone down. And I'm like, no kidding, dude. She's 19. No kidding, dude. It's been like that for months because it's just like any virus running its course, and eventually it'll die out and no longer be anything serious. 19-year-old child. And then we go on. She goes, this makes me so angry. She says, I don't care. Any intelligent person in Illinois has known this for months, but JB literally doesn't care what people think, which is what a governor should do, and not be a dictator and just want power. Yeah, and I'm like, and then I'm like, uh-huh. And she goes, Dad, where it's at right now, it's like the flu. She says, I don't see them forcing vaccines for the flu on people because they can also pass away from the flu too. She says, the flu vaccine's recommended. That's my 19-year-old child. She's going to vote in her first election in November of 2022. I don't think JB is going to get her vote. So that's the response to the Omicron dropping due to precautions. My daughter Maddie says it dropped because that's how viruses run. The precautions didn't have anything to do with it. Well done, my dear. All right, let's go to the next page. I'm going to save that one. Oh, I just wrote this one down because, again, I'm going to call this, I don't have much to say about it, but this is going to be narcissistic number 7. When he starts talking about COVID and how everybody's going to die, he calls it the COVID storm. The COVID storm. Yes, I do, June. Thank you. I have 2 very smart daughters, all National Honor Society students. All 3 of them were. And one of them actually made it to Illinois State Scholar, and Governor Pritzker had to sign her certificate. I hope he saw her name on there when he did it. But I have 3 very intelligent children. They all think for themselves, and whether they believe everything like their dad believes or not, they won't be pushed around and told what to do in their life, I promise you. But the COVID storm, right? Everybody starts shaking. The COVID storm. More gaslighting, right? Narcissistic gaslighting. All of it. Oh, here we go. February 28th. Oh, here he comes now. Here comes the savior. Governor Pritzker, please take care of me. February 28th, because of all of your hard work and all of your being good stewards and listening to all of the guidance and blah, 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 blah. February 28th, I'm going to lift the indoor mask. Woo! Right? I'm going, who even knows and cares about that? I dare any of you, don't go look it up. Tell me when his indoor masking, I'm going to wait a second over there in the column and see if I see it. Give me the date of when the indoor masking executive order was issued in the state of Illinois. Anybody? Okay, I'm still waiting. I don't see anybody. Now you're all going to go look it up. Yeah, you like the drama, Mr. Picoldi? That's right. I agree with you. Nope. August 30th, 2021. Right as school started. Universal, I called it. Universal indoor masks. Does anybody, most people don't even know. I have not been in a business. I have not been anywhere except for, again, 1 or 2 places in Chicago that have their own, citywide, but that's a different conversation. I've been everywhere in this state. Not one business, not one gas station, not one restaurant, not one store, not one flower. You pick them all. It's enforcing that. From the southern tip, again, you go up and you even get into Springfield, you get into Decatur, you get into all of the areas, Metro East, where I'm at. Nobody does it. And he's acting like he's doing everybody a favor by lifting the indoor mask mandate. You know what that means practically? Nothing. Nothing. Then why did he do it? He's trying to change the narrative, make himself look like he's trying to help you guys, so you will leave him alone and let him be the savior of the people once again. I'm lifting it because of all your hard work. Look at me, how benevolent I am. It's all gaslighting, you guys. It's all gaslighting, right? That's narcissistic number 8. Oh, this one's even better. This one's even better. Lifting of the mask mandate, once he lifts it, that nobody listens to anyway, except a very few places, should not invite those who don't wear masks to dissuade those who do. And I started laughing. He's saying that if you're not wearing a mask and somebody else is, you shouldn't try to dissuade them to take it off. And I look at him going, this guy is absolutely, I'm starting to think there's something going on. I have never in my life seen somebody that chooses not to wear a mask give somebody grief that chooses to do so. Have you? Think about your personal experiences. Never. Now, I've seen tons and tons of times to where those who wear a mask give grief to those who don't wear a mask. Right? How many times have you seen that? I've been personally and have been subjected to that. I've had people walk up to me and say, hey, why don't you have a mask on? And in about 15 seconds, they go away. Right? I just like, get in your lane. That's what I do. I'm not going to have to elaborate. But it doesn't work the other way around. People that don't wear a mask, they don't wear one because they respect freedom of choice. Person where you put on 15 masks. I don't care. Go get a banana helmet and put the little, the thing like they wear when they go in space. Knock yourself out. Hi, hold on, buddy. Come on. Hi, buddy. Sorry, guys. Sorry about that. I'll be right back, buddy. Put your spacesuit on, walk around in it. I don't care. And most people that believe like me don't care either. But he's trying to tell you guys, no, don't pick on those who want to wear a mask. We're never going to pick on them. They can wear one to the end of their life. I don't care. It's not my business. So again, we're going to call that, I don't even know what, I don't know, narcissist. That's not narcissistic or really a lie. That's just stupidity. Let's call that stupidity number one. Oh, here you go. This is narcissistic number 9. Can you imagine I got all of this out of 7 minutes and 45 seconds? Because when you're really good at interpersonal communication, and I'm assuming the person that writes for him probably not bad at it, you could drag these things out because that's how communication does. And people that generally believe what the governor believes, they love it. They listen to that and man, they soak it all up. And people that don't like him, they don't like any of it. Those of us who are like, okay, I'm going to still analyze it. We break it down and it's like, man, this guy's lost his mind. So let's go on with narcissistic number 9. We should wear masks for all of the sick and the elderly and the toddlers and, goes on trying again. This is narcissistic personality, gaslighting, guilt induction. Wear it for all of them. That's not what the conversation's about, Governor. That's not what it's about. If I want to put a mask on because I believe somebody's susceptible to something, I'll put it on. But that's not the conversation. The conversation is, you bum, is you're issuing dictates trying to say people have to do it, and if they don't, they're going to be punished. That's the conversation. Quit deflecting. You're not that good at it. Hold on, let me look down again. Yeah, you're not that good at it. Quit trying. Quit trying. You want to wear the mask? Wear it. You need to wear one to keep people healthy? Do it. It's okay. But that's not the question. Wearing a mask because he thinks you have to, and if you don't, he's going to punish you. Different conversation. And again, that's the evil that the law was intended to stop. The Honorable Raylene Grishow. Here we go. Narcissistic number 10. Oh, here we go. This one's a beaut. This is a beaut. Compassion and kindness is the hallmark of being an Illinoisan. Compassion and kindness is the hallmark of being an Illinoisan. More guilt induction, manipulation, coercion, making you try to feel guilty. Classic, right? Let me see here. What's the next one? This one was funny. I was listening to this one on the way home. 2.9 million Illinoisans are eligible for the booster, right? But they just haven't gotten around to getting it yet. That's what it is. They're busy. Maybe after they got the first 2 shots or the whatever rounds it was, because if they were hoodwinked into thinking if you did that you would be free, you didn't have to wear a mask. Remember back in the day when the vaccines first came out, you take these shots and you don't have to wear a mask and you can go into places without one and blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, well, we can't do that anymore. You can't do it anymore. You got to have a booster. And then people started going, wait a second. The goalpost is all over the place, right? 2.9 million eligible for the booster, but they just haven't got around to it. If you guys could encourage them, could you please go encourage them to get their booster? The governor would appreciate it. Yeah, I don't even know what to call that one. It's not really stupid. I got to be fair. It's not. I think it's an admission. Let's call it an admission, number one. It's an admission that 2.9 million people have gotten smarter since he lied to them the first time. Yeah, how does that sound? That sound pretty good. All right, here we go. Here we're getting to the schools now. In-person learning in healthy environment is what's best for our children. In-person learning in a healthy environment is what's best for our children. Do you think that a man who was born a billionaire, I'm not jealous, zero, born a billionaire, came into this earth never having to work a day in his life, never having to want for anything. He didn't stand in the cheese line for that 5-pound box of cheese. You remember how good that stuff was? That powdered milk, that crap was nasty, though. You couldn't eat your cereal with that powdered milk. I told my mom and dad, I'm like, I can't do it, right? I can't do it. Think he ever had to do that? The reason I say that is how could he possibly know what's best for our children? He can't. It's not possible. And he's either, again, stupid, ignorant, or he really is the most dangerous man in Illinois. He doesn't know what's best for, you can't know what's best for kids when you're born a billionaire. When we're trying to figure out how to work hard, how to get ahead, how to make enough money to pay for everything, how to save for college, how to teach them these things. We don't have nannies. We can't afford that. We don't have private jets. We don't have toiletless mansions in the north and horse farms in Michigan or Wisconsin and another mansion in Florida. We don't have that stuff. We're trying to figure out how to pay our rent. There was times in my life I had to worry about that, a lot of them. He doesn't know what's best for our children, right? And an in-person learning in a healthy environment. Healthy environment. Now, of course, he's trying to suggest that putting a mask on is what makes it a healthy environment. I would suggest to you that the overwhelming majority of school districts in this state disagree with him. And I can bet you an overwhelming majority of the parents disagree with him. The parents can decide what's healthy for their children or not, right? They can decide what's healthy. It's not his job to decide what's healthy for the children, especially since he'll never know what's in the best interest of our children. I'll determine. Mine are 19. They're not, well, not yet. They'll be 19 in June. We'll figure out what's best for them, Governor. You mind your own business. Get back to the horse stalls, okay? Let me see here. Whole lot more infections when our districts. Oh, yeah, here we go. More gaslighting. Governor, the judge didn't buy this either. Whole lot more infections when our districts are maskless. He stated that as a fact. Know what you guys ought to do? You guys know what you ought to do? Send some FOIA requests to IDPH and the governor and maybe ISB and ask them for all reports that show that school districts without masks have higher infections than schools without masks, right? Go do that. Go FOIA that. I'm too busy. I can't right now. You want to have a copy of all reports, whether the governor, IDPH, or ISB has them, that show that infections are greater with maskless kids than without. I want to see that science. I love to see that science. Don't give me some report from Bolivia or something like that. State of Illinois. Show me where it says, and it's proven that, because I have clients that don't have or have masks on their kids, and their positivity is no different to the state. Okay. Again, that's a lie number 25 probably. So this is when he's trying to tell you now that I can't really do the same thing for schools. I'd like to, but schools are different, more susceptible. He says school environment's more susceptible to the spread. And I'm sitting there laughing going, so you think when Johnny and Susie walk into school, in the structure of a school, they're more susceptible there than when Johnny and Susie go home, play in dirt, eat dirt. When I was a kid, run around with all their friends, have slumber parties at night, go to the roller rink or whatever they do these days. Probably don't even have them anymore. Go to the movies, all that stuff. You think sitting in the school in a chair 6 feet apart from their friends makes them more susceptible than the life they lead when they leave that door. Unbelievable. Doesn't even make any sense. Schools need a little more time. Just a little more time, right? We have to wait and see if the court wants to give him any more time, but we'll see. But more time for what? The school districts didn't think they needed more time. They just started making the change, right? I'm going to be interested to see if, I'm trying to watch some of your guys as it goes, if you see me look over. I'm going to be interested to see after we go through this week, if you're going to have, where's the outbreaks at, right? Where's the outbreaks in a school district? Because we got 300 of them now without masks on the kids, right? We're going to see outbreaks. Show us, right? Show us that evidence. We'll see. All right, let me see here. Youngest learners. Oh, here we go. This is one that's going to fire y'all up because this is what it's all about. This is what it's all about. Youngest learners to become vaccine eligible and for more parents to get their kids vaccinated. You want that mask off your baby? Just stick a needle in their arm, the governor says. Yeah, that's what he said. Become eligible and parents get those vaccines. Get those we get 80% of your children vaccinated and we'll take the mask off of them. That's what he's trying to say. Most dangerous man in Illinois. You guys need to start that hashtag, something or however that stuff works, about governor being the most dangerous man in Illinois. Because his danger, the judge laid it out crystal clear. The danger is his complete breakdown of the rule of law. Let me see here. Oh, they're going to like this one. I lost track of the lies and narcissistic. I've moved on. Healthy environment for the kids, the teachers, the staff, right? Healthy environment for the kids, the teachers, and the staff. I've learned something over the course of the last 3 weeks. You know who he's worried about? You know who he's worried about? Oh, somebody beat me. I don't know who that is. Why are we doing this? Who's driving it in the schools? Do you know who it is? It's the teachers' unions, the Illinois Education Association, Illinois Teachers Federation. I used to I've changed my opinion. I've always been my opinion, but I'm really giving you my opinion now. I used to, at one time, have a little shred of governor's his own man. He's doing what he thinks he's got to do. And I just disagree with him, and we're going to go to battle. But I don't believe that anymore. I think, you know what I think he's doing? I think he's pandering to the teachers' unions for their vote because he needs to get reelected. I'm convinced that he has an absolute desire to get out of Illinois, get on the big stage in the federal system, and either get a cabinet position with the president or maybe run for president. I think that's his ambition. He knows that he has to get elected governor in order to accomplish that. Have you guys seen the stuff that the Illinois Education Association, the Illinois Teachers Federation, some of these teachers, union representatives, some of the stuff that they're out here pushing? And again, I'm 100% in support of teachers. You guys have seen that. I sued on behalf of all of them that wanted me to. These people are evil. And they're driving the governor's policy decisions, in my opinion. Right? Because he said it. Healthy environment for kids, teachers, staff. And I'm going, what do you think the hierarchy is? Teachers, kids, staff. Who's the most powerful group in that there? I mean, staff and teachers, how do you differentiate? I don't know. Okay, so staff and teachers together. Do you think the staff and the teachers are driving his decision-making, or the parents and their kids? You guys have seen that over the course of the last 2 years. We know who's driving it, right? We know who's driving it. And I assure you, in my humble opinion, it's the Illinois Education Association, the Illinois Teachers Federation, and all the local unions that are hammering for these mandates to stay in place. They're hammering on them and hammering, and the governor is yielding to that political influence. That's my opinion. So when he said that, keeping that healthy environment, that's where his kind of indirectly was admitting to what's going on. Then last, he says, your child's education and health is his priority for schools. Your education and health is his priority. When did your education of your child and the health of your child become so intertwined that you can't differentiate them. Right? I don't know. The health of your child. He's trying to suggest to you that he knows, this is how I interpreted it. He knows what's more healthy for your child. He knows. I guess at least he knows it's inside the school building. He's thinking that because when the kids leave the school, I guess the health of your child is no longer a concern for the governor. Think about that. He's so concerned about their health that he's trying to create these tools only when the kid's in the school. But when the kid's outside the school, he doesn't care anymore. Put that together with the hammering that the teachers union's doing, and you're going to connect the dots. Doing what he's doing for inside the school is not being driven by the concern for the health of the children. It's about the political pressure of the teachers unions. That's my opinion. So then he says he hopes in a few weeks we can remove the masks in the school. Hopes in a few weeks, right? Why did he say that? He says it's because he's waiting to see if it comes down, right? I don't think so. I think it has more to do with politics than anything, but I don't have to get into that right now. But that's his whole press release. I broke it down a lot, and I did it. It took me 52 minutes. But guys, when you're listening to people talk, that's the kind of stuff you got to break down and figure out, because there's a lot of when you hear words going through your mind and people are talking, there's a whole lot of processing going on that the people that are writing those speeches, because he's not doing his own, remember what he's doing? Going like that. They're throwing those pieces in there, trying to create messages that change your behavior. The whole purpose by messaging that is to change your behavior, and you have to pick up on those things. And that's why there's so much within that 7 minutes and 45 seconds. And sometimes we as people, if we're not breaking it down, it'll happen to you and you don't even realize it. So that was his message. I'm going to finish getting our appeal brief filed tonight. The appellate court likely won't do anything until middle of next week, I'm guessing. It's a guess. They could do something tomorrow if they wanted to, but they have up to 5 days typically. So we will continue with that and see how it goes. And like I said, either way, just keep pushing on your school districts, regardless of this case. Stay the course, right? Stay the course. Just keep the mask off the kids, keep making good choices, and move on. Everything will be fine, right? Everything will be fine. We can govern ourselves. We don't need the world, or that world. I won't go that far yet. Illinois' most dangerous person to be making these decisions for us. We don't need that, okay? You guys have a good night. I'll talk to you later.